Hello, welcome to 70 Years, 70 Muppets. More Muppets, please. A Muppet fan podcast presented by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we celebrate the Muppets' 70th anniversary with a series of spotlights on our favorite Muppet characters, from fan favorites to the most obscure. I am this week's host, Julia Gaskill, and the Muppets of the week are the Flying Zucchini Brothers, performed by a lot of people, but we'll say primarily Dave Goelz, Richard Hunt, and Frank Oz, and then designed by someone, and they made their world debut in 1977. And I am joined by the one, the only, my husband, Stephen Meads, to talk about these characters. Hi, Stephen.
Booma booma.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. We just watched a handful of clips of the Flying Zucchini Brothers.
We did?
Thoughts on these characters? Well, okay, well, actually, here's my real question. Do you when I pulled up the clips, you said that you recognized them.
Yeah.
Did you have any like memories before watching them? Did you remember what their gag was?
I mean, no, but you had already informed me that they were like a cannonball kind of collective.
Yeah.
Their gag seems to shift a little bit over time, right? I think we can agree. Like, they start out incomprehensibly Italian, sort of like
Yeah.
an Italian cannonball's Swedish chef, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly but surely, over the course of the clips you were showing me, presumably a couple years, it seemed like they both became a little bit more articulate and a little bit closer to actually operating the cannons that they are attempting to.
Because in their first appearance, they couldn't get the cannon to even go, and by the last one, the cannons all went, but then they just didn't come back down.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, I can tell you, so the first episode was in season 2, was an early season 2 episode, and the last clip I showed you was from the final season. So they appeared 7 times throughout the Muppet Show, from 1977 to 81. They also, I learned this in trying to dissect these characters, is that in 1994 and 85, there was a live Muppet Show that toured around the country with like walking giant Muppet characters, and
Love
for whatever reason, the Zucchini Brothers were part of it. It looked like about 15 or 20 big walking around Muppets, and then 2 of them were the Zucchini Brothers.
Did they do the human cannonball act?
I'm gonna say probably
Yes.
sure.
And I love it and impressive.
So that was their main appearances until 2001. Do you know who Tommy DePaula is?
I don't.
He wrote the Strega Nona books, and he had a short series on the Hallmark Channel where these guys made an appearance, apparently. And I'm gonna guess it's because they're Italian.
Yeah.
And Strega Nona, very Italian story. And then they didn't appear again until Muppets Most Wanted in 2014, 13 years later.
Which is the global Muppet movie.
It is the global Muppet movie, except
they brought in the Italian Muppets briefly to highlight the sort of globalistic approach that film was about to take.
See, that would make so much more sense, except we did find the clip on YouTube of all of their screen time in Muppets Most Wanted, and it is just it's 8 seconds in We're Doing a Sequel, which is the start of the entire movie, and then apparently they don't come back.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, you phrasing it like that, I guess they don't go to Italy when they're doing their Europe tour, but they could have.
Well, and I mean, I think it's just, again, I think it's like a hint of the broader aspirations of Muppets Most Wanted, which was really like, hey, globalized Muppets this time. As opposed to, our standard Muppet crew kind of lives a cross-country but clearly American lifestyle.
Sure.
And you only have like a couple international Muppets you can even point to.
You got a Swedish one.
I already named him.
That is true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of just going around the globe, in 2015, the Muppets did a commercial for a bakery in the UK called Warburton's.
Yeah.
And especially, like, it was for, like, they were promoting, like, the Crumpet Show, and the Zucchini Brothers were there in the background, not flying out of cannons, but they were background characters.
Interesting. Populate your Crumpet show? I don't know. What is the Crumpet Show? Is it like the Crumpet Shop? I love the Crumpet Shop.
It was just a commercial for crumpets and bakery and baked goods.
A good crumpet. I don't feel like you put zucchini in a crumpet. It's a little off. They should have done like for the bakery's zucchini bread.
Fair. Again, they were just in the background of this commercial. They didn't seem to speak or do anything. They were
I
just
mean,
background figures, which also, they were in the 2026 Muppet special, also just in the background. And apparently they're somewhere in Rock and Roller Coaster, which is the new theme park ride at one of the Disney.
I believe it's the Walt Disney World Hollywood Studios. I
Yeah,
could be wrong.
I believe so. Yeah, so those are all of the appearances. So I did remember the Zucchini Brothers, but vaguely it's been a while since I've gone through the entirety of the Muppet Show, and I was like, oh, well, this is a great chance to become reacquainted with some characters. And
Some old
also,
friends.
Stephen, why do you think I, out of a list of all of the Muppets that were available for us this season, was like, yeah, I've got some stuff I could talk about these characters. What's the silly reason I would have chosen?
It's either your A, love of zucchini, B, your propensity to climb into objects you should not be in, or on, mostly statues.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of a like representation of being in, say, a canon, but in a different metaphorical capacity, or most likely because you are Italian.
So it is C because I am Italian. I do not care for zucchini. I do like sitting on animal statues, but I don't like going inside of and then being shot out of cannons. Uh, it's very silly.
Good news, none of the cannons really fire until
That's
the end.
that's true. Yeah, my mom's side of the family is all like the generation above me, all 100% Italian. You've seen pictures of them when they were younger.
Yeah, it's
They
like hanging out with the Zucchini Sisters in a way.
Sure. Basically, a lot of it very Italian women, a lot of strong, bold opinions. I tried to learn Italian for a decade or so, and I can speak it very poorly. Been to Italy a couple times. I grew up with just very much ingrained in Italian culture, and I was like, yeah, I'll watch these clips of these Italian Muppets, and uh, yeah, they do say booma booma a
They
lot.
say booma booma.
It's maybe not the best representation.
It feels pretty close. It feels like the
What?
level of Italian that I am comfortable speaking. You know, sort of a
Like a Mario
kind
level.
of a like a yeah, you know, I mean that's like they show up like that.
This is true. I did write in my notes pretty stereotypical and offensive accents. You are correct that they do become more affluent. They can speak more clearly the longer that they're around. They can speak full sentences.
They can. And their
So,
voices change, which
well,
you would speak to that. Like presumably different Muppet performers are stepping up to give it a shot as a Zucchini Bro here and there.
sure. One thing you probably didn't notice just because we only watched the clips once is besides the one gray one with like the droopy nose, a lot of them just kind of change. So I mentioned that I didn't know who the designer was, and it's because it's very clearly they're Whatnot Muppets. Do you know what Whatnot Muppets are?
I do not. I'm assuming these are Muppets that would show up on the auction platform Whatnot,
What?
the comic book auction
Oh,
site.
no. So a Whatnot Muppet essentially is just a kind of like a base Muppet that you could take off their eyes and their nose and their mouth and then put on different ones. They basically
Like
serve.
Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to put it. They served as background characters. Some characters started out as whatnots and then eventually became actual characters, but these clearly were just they were the base bodies that they would then slap on, all of the eyes and nose, and then also giant mustaches to most of them.
Italian people.
And so I noticed this time I was like, oh yeah, they Italian people.
Gotta have that giant mustache.
Yeah, my giant mustache. Yeah, some of them look different. Also, in the first clip, there's only three brothers.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the first couple, and then suddenly there's four in the one that we saw with Louis Kazager,
Were
and
there four?
there were
might have
four
been.
in that one, but then there were six in the last one because there were five in,
Five in cannons
and then
and
one
one doing
speaking.
the
And
countdown.
that one they all also like said a bunch of their names.
Yeah, they all have names by that
Mhm.
point.
One of them had a name in the very first one that began with a B, the one they were putting into the cannon.
I think that's in the second
Oh,
one.
maybe it's the second. you know.
It's like Bialo or something.
Hmm. And then the last one had like a Luigi, a Giuseppe, Heathcliff.
Oh yeah,
He did a shout out to his mama.
he did.
Yeah, this is to say that these characters don't, I mean, there are plenty of Muppets that don't have a personality or anything really going for them. These guys really don't have much going for them. They're akin to the Crazy Harry's New Zealand, except I understand maybe why these guys didn't break the mold and get more screen time. I hate to say.
I think the biggest here's what I'm gonna say. I think the biggest thing holding them back,
Uh-huh.
and you can take this how you will, their act is being done at a higher and better level by Gonzo, who is a
Yeah.
headline Muppet star. No one else in the Muppets is really out there dedicating their entire time to pyrotechnics on the level that like Crazy Harry is. No one else in the main crew of the Muppets is really like honing their chops at throwing a fish away and then it comes back to them.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys have a specialty locked in and so they're good to go. But the Zucchini Brothers are just rolling in a booma booma and like getting prepared to like set it off. Meanwhile, Gonzo straight up putting himself in a cannon with an outfit and a helmet and flying across the stage. Like Gonzo's act actually booma booms, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I did have that thought that it was interesting that they wouldn't have at some point after they'd been introduced do a combination act with Gonzo. And yeah, the fact that they introduced these brothers who do a cannonball act when they've already had Gonzo be shot out of a cannon at this point. I was curious about that. I don't know if it's because maybe at this point Gonzo was starting to take on more of a personality because when he started out in season 1, I don't think they realized he was going to become more of one of the mainstay characters. He was kind of more of a C-B tier Muppet in season 1. He was still around a lot, but he really like in season 2 onward like began a life as his own. He, had a bunch of like standout moments throughout the rest of the series. And so maybe they were like, well, we can throw in some other characters to do some daredevil level stunts.
Sure, Gonzo's over here having a glow up, dating some chickens,
Sure.
really coming into his own.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the Zucchini Brothers have nothing going on. They don't even have names at first. They can't speak English. They've just come over from Italy with their cannon.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they know, and that's all they can do.
Mm-hmm.
They try to bring it to the show, and it fails, which is also like really upsetting. And then like they're probably there, yeah, like they're brought on for odd jobs. The second time we see them, they're there to blast a cow out of the backstage area.
Mm-hmm.
Which seems like a terrible way to remove a cow
Well,
from the
and that
Muppet
cow
Show.
is not going to fit in their cannon.
Well, I mean, they don't know.
That's true. Um,
They put Kermit. They attempt to put Kermit in the cannon, thinking he's a cow. It's a very like, what's the Muppet Family Christmas? Like
oh
the
no.
fast talking turkey convincing like the Swedish chef that Big Bird is actually the turkey for the feast.
So this is some like commentary on like just I don't know the language not connecting like
Yeah,
just
language barriers.
yeah,
Cow, frog is basically the same.
sure.
You speak Italian. You probably could like speak to this in a real way.
I mean, I can't actually speak Italian. I can read very basic level Italian. Booma booma. I will also say that on the Muppet Wiki, there were two different inspirations for these characters. The first one was just that they were based on some waiters at a restaurant that the Muppet Show writers would meet at and who would frequently mess up their orders. So there's some real world experience there. But also, they're based on two real life brothers called I believe it's the Zaccani brothers,
Okay.
who they were, I don't have the dates down, but they were around in like the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Oh wow. Okay,
And
so real deep pull.
they were a big kind of circus family, but there were two brothers, Edmondo and Hugo, who were basically did a human cannonball act together. It did say that I think it was Edmondo did eventually like he broke his leg a couple of times, and so then he became the quote unquote brains of the act, and Hugo was the human cannonball. Um,
Classic.
apparently their net worth was like they made $30 per second when they were performing because of how dangerous the act was.
Yeah.
Wikipedia also told me being a human cannibal is deemed the most dangerous profession, which it's probably up there, but I also can't imagine it's a very common profession.
Yeah, I mean, like the closest thing I can think is that episode of The Simpsons where Homer gets on the Lollapalooza tour because he can like take a cannonball to the stomach. I don't know if you remember this,
I
but
don't remember
he
this.
becomes like a stunt show guy on Lollapalooza where they are just shooting a cannonball at his belly and he's just absorbing the impact, which is probably equally dangerous in the long run. And ultimately Homer has to choose between staying alive or taking one final cannonball. Um it's one of those grand moments of decisions on the mid early Simpsons era. I think this was like season 7 or something.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, like the Zucchini Bros. Um, I think that's fascinating. I love that there's a real life inspired circus act for them.
Mm-hmm.
The name really sounded like the Flying Burrito Brothers to me, which I didn't think they were necessarily inspired by, but that was like a country western, like uh sort of rock, classic country rock,
Mm-hmm.
one of the first, big super groups, Graham Parsons and Chris Hillman, and they wore these gaudy suits. I think if they had like the Zucchini Brothers in a little bit more of a gaudy attire as opposed to like circus fare with zucchinis on them, I think you could have made a connection to that because that was going on in the 70s as well. Like the
Okay.
Burrito Brothers would have been a big thing, and like I think some like people from that scene wind up being hosts on the Muppet Show at
Oh,
various
yeah.
points in time.
Very
So
likely, yeah.
yeah. I don't know if they ever got Graham Parsons. He was probably doing too many drugs, but it's not impossible.
Mm-hmm. Um, those are pretty much all of my notes. Oh, there was a good poll also on Wikipedia about the Zaccani brothers about when they got drafted for World War II. The line is just neither brother could imagine a world without human cannonballs, and they basically trained their sisters to be human cannonballs while they were at war. Fun stuff. I figured the last thing that maybe we could end on, when I was talking with you about maybe doing this episode, you suggested maybe us throwing out some names of Muppets that we'd like to see be shot out of cannons.
I did say that, yeah.
Which I then thought about it and I was like, we could do something like that. I wrote down a couple, but also you're pretty good on the fly, so I figured I could spring this on you.
You spring this on me. Like, what Muppets do I think would be best at getting shot out of a cannon?
Yes.
I mean, like, there's dimensions to it. I mean, I think, like, any member of the Electric Mayhem, but particularly Animal, would
He would do
be,
the most damage as a
oh my
cannonball.
god, intense.
Yeah.
His head is already very cannonball esque. So he's got the aerodynamic
Mm-hmm.
component. And then, yeah, just like the volatility to imagine someone so explosive, set up like his entire drum set and allow him to like smash some cymbals and land in the kick drum on the way through.
Mm-hmm.
That one would be great.
That's pretty great. I mean, my number one is Gonzo. Like, that feels like a given.
He's done it.
But that's why if it was going to be any other Muppet, he's number one. But for number two, I did.
Super Grover.
Oh, if we're going to Sesame Street, sure. That guy flies. No, I said Beaker.
Oh yeah. Well,
Beaker,
because you
Beaker,
can just do anything to Beaker.
and the likelihood that like Bunsen has created something that actually is a cannon and shoots Beaker out, that's probably happened.
Plus, he's yoked. Like,
Just in the one Christmas special,
he's
Stephen.
so strong.
He's not yoked anywhere else, and that one is The Wonderful Life.
Beaker's that Muppet. He's kind of
Ultimate
like the
reality.
Cheaty of the Muppet Show, where it's like you don't know that he's ripped, but then you see him take off his Muppet Labs coat, and it's just like a 17 pack,
You're doing a good
like
place.
all the way down. Yeah, it's like he's so shredded.
Mhm.
It's because of all the torture that he's been, the stress that his body's been in. His muscles are just like
Oh,
twitching
Baker, yeah.
constantly.
Yeah,
So it's just guaranteed workout.
probably.
Yeah, Beaker would be great. I feel like Rolf would do it but it'd be like the chillest
Mm-hmm.
approach.
I had the similar thought for Bobo.
Yeah,
He would just do it because he's just a nice guy and he's like, okay. And
yeah,
then, but he's also huge, so he'd
he's
do a lot of
huge.
damage too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I picture Rolf like somehow being shot out of a cannon, but like reclining through the experience,
Mm-hmm.
like in a hammock, and the cannon actually shoots him at a slower speed than his regular movement. So it's just like a really nice extended gliding scene.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he tickles the ivories a little bit. It's a little glissando. And then you get like a spoken intro of like, this was great. Let me catch you up on where I've been. And then they cut it off because you never get to actually find out what Rolf has been up to.
The last one I wrote down was Bean Bunny. Also,
Was
same with like an Annie Sue. Like I
I
could 100% see Miss Piggy
I
freaking
want to
Annie
put
Sue.
like a small, adorable Muppet through the rigors of
But he's
Cannonball.
so small. Like he would be fine. Like it would be like a moment of panic, and then he'd just be up in the rafters, and he would be like, "This was
Maybe
fun."
the turkey that is thrown at him. No,
Oh,
the money
oh,
is thrown at him. The
different,
turkey that he carries.
different turkey from a different Christmas thing.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Michael Caine would just cannonballs the
Cannonball it.
turkey onto the street at him. Uh, well, that's it.
That's it.
Thanks for talking to me about these Muppets that
Booma booma.
we've learned a little bit more about. Do you think that these characters will get like the Uncle Dudley treatment in the future?
No, they don't have the vibe. Uncle
Yeah.
Dudley's got a vibe which allowed him to really translate up. Like they would need to it's not enough to establish names and then change their names later. Like they would need a whole lot of work. And I mean like not for nothing, the third clip I think you showed me, which did feature some sort of pretty dated semi-racist stuff
Oh,
going on.
it was
It was a
the
World Peace
interview.
Prize interview
Yeah.
clip that included the Swahili Stompers, which was really not great. Uh,
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if those puppets came from the Harry Belafonte episode, which
Interesting.
is a really beautiful piece, but yeah, in this one it wasn't maybe used in the best possible way.
Sure, as dated as the 70s, I don't think is necessarily out there to be like intended as directly hurtful, but I think a lot of things that are, let's just, racially unkind start out in a place of sort of ignorance more than intentionality, and intentionality still happens as a
Mhm.
result. It definitely felt a little rough to watch it. I think the Zucchini Brothers, as you mentioned, you're feeling, you're trying to see yourself and your culture represented on screen.
Uh,
And you're really not getting it. You're getting a cruel stereotype of what an Italian cannonball act is, as opposed to the real thing, which is like uh, people so dedicated to the craft of cannonballing that they're called to war and they can't imagine a world without cannonballing
they
in it.
train their sisters
They
to do
train
it.
their
Yeah,
families
maybe
to
they
take up the art of cannonballing
maybe they need to
when they
become
go.
the flying zucchini family, and maybe there's
Yeah.
like, some sisters and a mom and a dad, and then
Yeah, and like show that the art of cannonballing is really a multi-generational craft that's been passed down year to year. Like we just watched Whisper of the Heart, and there's a whole segment in that movie, spoiler alert, about the craft of violin making, and this like one village in Italy that like produces all the master violin craftsmen. And it's like maybe it's that kind of level, but for human cannonballing.
artisan human cannonballing.
Artisan human cannonballing. And if you bring them back in that space where they're like showing the like respect to the game, that's how we come back, and like that makes sense. Like millennials in particular, all about artisanship and like the craft of something, right? Like we are the generation that has produced the return of craft beer, the return of vinyl as a like medium to listen to music because of the fidelity of the recording. Like all of the crazy food chef thingamathings. Cannonball is like right on the it's just right next door. artisanal cannonball.
Artisanal cannonballing. Yeah, I mean, this is a lovely picture that we're painting. I do think that based off of the most recent times we've seen them in Muppets Most Wanted and then the special, they're probably going to just be kind of background. With maybe occasionally getting to be shot out of a cannon, but I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever get to see them expanded, and that's okay. We need background characters that we can be like, hey, I recognize those guys from a handful of decades ago, and that's cool, and that's all we need from them, I suppose.
Sure.
Anyway,
Booma booma.
booma booma.
Booma booma.
Booma booma.
70 Years, 70 Muppets, More Muppets Please is a Muppet fan podcast presented by toughpigs.com. Hosted by a myriad of people and edited by them as well. Produced by Joe Hennis. The Muppets 70 logo is used with permission by the Muppet Studio, with thanks to Danny Iglesias, Frank Reifschneider, and Lee Slaughter. Don't forget to follow toughpigs.com on all social media platforms, and you can support us by heading to patreon.com/toughpigs or by buying merchandise at tpublic.com/toughpigs.